Hey guys, I'm live. I just got done with my workout and now doing this. Anyway, let's go. We're probably just gonna go for 2 hours. Depends.
Last year, I did a video called Hollywood's Continuous Problem with Female Characters, and this was a big breakdown that explained all of the problems right now from Hollywood in how they depict female characters. And I talked about the prominent problem that's been talked about a lot.
I agree with this. There's been a very prominent problem in making female characters evil without. I don't think they know they're making evil characters, but they think they're good characters, but they're definitely evil characters, you know?
Of the strong female character, how every female character has to be strong.
Like Captain Marvel, it's like a bad person. She threatened to kill a guy and actually steals his clothes and his motorcycle for just flirting with her. You know?
Strong, how they have to represent all women in a sense, and meaning that when characters were more complex over the years or more flawed, then they would get a lot of criticism. And that the main talking point from Hollywood about female characters would always be about their agency. A female character has to have agency. That's the top word. And I covered how claiming that a female character has agency has been used even to cover up actually exploitative depictions of female characters in media. Like I used Sam Levinson's The Idol as an example, and how he tried to use the term agency in order to defend his very exploitative, misogynistic work. And
I don't know much about that work, but I don't know much about that, so I can't comment much about
my ultimate conclusion with that video is I just want female characters to be able to be portrayed in any which way. Whether or not being strong is a criticism of the character depends on if that character is supposed to be strong.
Well, when most people talk about strong characters, they mean that's the only personality. You know, they tough and they beat up all the people. There's not really much else to them. That's what people mean by strong characters.
If it's supposed to be a character that's a hero that you're supposed to look up to, or if it's not, and that I just want freedom for how these.
I forgot to mention. Subscribe to. I'll tell you if I want. Anyway, subscribe to Jester Bell and all that good stuff.
These characters are portrayed rather than this rigid idea of agency that's being used to cover up actual negative portrayals. Scrutiny should happen if a character is being badly written or someone is actually being exploitative, but
I mean, okay.
Not for a female character merely being portrayed as a person. But it's been nearly a year since that video, and a lot has changed. And I wanted to talk about that because while I definitely see things that are changing in terms of the depiction and the rigid depiction of female characters in media, I wouldn't necessarily.
This video's 4 hours old. I see. Well, let's see what you mean by change.
Really say it's for the better. In fact, I think that things might be getting messier than ever and more confusing than ever, because in that video that I described, it was pretty straightforward to describe the problems with female characters, but now it's just really confused. But strap in, we have a lot to talk about, we have a lot to go over. Let's get started. The first trend I've been noticing is the strong female character is gone, or at least as we knew it. For those who don't know, strong female character used to not be a negative term. It used to,
like, when you think of strong female characters, you think of Ripley, you think of Ripley. I don't watch anything for women. Anime characters. You think of Bulma. You think of people like the female characters in Attack on Titan. I forgot their names. Oh, you think of uh well, what's her face from Stargate SG-1? The I forget her name. I'm bad with names, but it wasn't Teal'c, it wasn't uh Colonel what's his face? Ugh, but you know what I mean.
To be a term to mean a character who is tough, who is heroic, who is an action hero, if you will. But the word strong female character became tainted because it was used so much to defend so many bad portrayals of female characters. It became a word used to describe one-dimensional female characters.
Yeah, I definitely agree with this. They're definitely like basically that one lady, Osha, and with Osha from the Acolyte, she's very definitely a one-note character. And then she becomes evil for some reason. You never know. But also the male characters also made more dumb. But I think I don't think that's deliberate. I think that's, again, you can only write as characters as smart as you are, and when you're not very smart, you're gonna write dumb characters.
Characters with no personality, characters who are basically cardboard cutout ideas.
Yeah, like Rey is just an insert character for Kathleen Kennedy. Well, that's not what I mean. She's definitely a Mary Sue. Is she an insert character? I've heard that, but she definitely Mary Sue. She doesn't really get much. She doesn't really lose very much. She doesn't train very hard to get her powers. She's just really strong because she's really strong. Really, it's really hard to get invested in characters like that because you don't know the limits, and they didn't have to work to get their powers. And especially the plot in The Last Jedi prevents her from getting killed. That dagger that's about to stab her gets CGI'd out because they just forgot it on set, and they were like, "Oh, just screw it,"
Feminist characters or role models for little girls, like Captain Marvel or Rey. They didn't have any character. They were pushed in people's faces really hard. They were given the label Mary.
Also, another problem with Captain Marvel is she's too strong from the start. She basically beats everyone else out with the inhibitor chip on her that doesn't inhibit anything, because it only inhibits her powers if she believes the inhibitor works. Apparently, that's how it works. And when she gets it removed, she's now godlike and nobody can beat her. Not even Thanos, He had to, not even Thanos. He had to take out a stone and punch her. And that doesn't even kill her. She didn't have to work for any of that power. If she went on like a journey like Thor, that'd be more acceptable.
Mary Sue.
Because even though Captain Marvel is much stronger than Thor, much faster, but she could have gone on the same journey. We could have cared about her.
Which is a trope in fiction, actually first used to describe fan fiction, where a character doesn't have any action.
First used to describe Star Trek fan fiction, I believe. Oh, thank you for joining. Tell me what you think and all that good stuff. Anyway, let's go.
Actual flaws. And it's that type of character that I've kind of seen go away because I haven't seen a character who's sort of the Captain Marvel archetype in a while. At least in the past year, I haven't seen anything push that strong. And we can go to the Marvels.
The OSHA definitely. I lump OSHA. I watched what's it? Random Film Talk. Video on the Acolyte, and I remember the joke was that her name wasn't OSHA. Her name was an anagram for Occupational Safety Health Administration. You know, the OSHA, the stuff that keeps your food safe. But that was the kind of joke. Now that I can't get that out of my head. But
for that, and a movie like Madam Web, these were female superhero movies and very, very bad ones. However, they didn't really have the problems before. In fact, the Marvels, I was surprised, actually got really close to fixing Captain Marvel's character. It had a plot where she made a huge mistake.
I definitely disagree.
This could actually
you know, I can't talk about that one. I disagree, but I don't remember why I disagree. I haven't seen that movie in such a long time. Let's put a pin in that one. I disagree, but I don't remember why. So, you know what? We're gonna react for 20 minutes of this, okay? And then, tomorrow I'm gonna end up watching the Marvels. I need to watch a couple Marvel movies. I need to remember which ones
actually fix her character, but they didn't lean into it enough because the movie was just a disjointed mess overall. And Madam Web, horrible movie, but it just did not push the idea of these strong female characters that you had to like in any way, shape, or form. And so that is just a change I've been seeing across the board, that we're not really pushing for these quote unquote strong female characters anymore. The impossibly perfect strong female character with essentially no character apart from being a cardboard cutout of what the producers thought at the time would be the ultimate example for little girls everywhere. So we're away from that era, sort of. I'll get into it in a minute, but we are moving away from that era. But
I very much disagree with the Acolyte now out and how horribly those characters were handled. I mean, how does what does not kill a Jedi with a weapon even mean? But like in that fight, there are plenty of chances for Trinity. For one, I have a problem with Trinity and OSHA. I'm just lumping them together. Fighting styles. Trinity could have just sliced her in half many times, or Trinity could have just held her in place, or all that dumb shit. And like, I didn't like the like kung fu Matrix style fighting. I think it looks really dumb. They look like they're on wires, but now we're getting off topic.
That I'm seeing some other negative things come out, because instead of praising that we're now moving away from that very, very stiff, very, very bland trope of a female character, I'm seeing a lot of hate being levied at the idea of female action heroes in general. Like a need.
I definitely agree with this. You can have female action heroes. I'm okay with that. They just can't have a 90-pound woman beating up a 200-pound man. That doesn't make sense. You know? I think You put some muscle on that woman. Gina Carano, she's a muscly looking woman. I can believe she can beat up a guy.
Jerk reaction. And I noticed this years ago, starting with the movie Prey. Now, that starred a female action hero, and the movie is so so, and the character is so so. People have different opinions on it. But what I noticed in that movie, and forgive me, this was years ago, I didn't keep any receipts, but I noticed that when it came out, there were people saying things about the film that weren't true, things that the female character did that weren't true. At the very least, she wasn't a character who was just born with all these skills and never failed. She failed in the movie, but there were people saying that she didn't fail and that she beat everything up herself. And I'm like, that's not entirely
Dang it, I wish I remembered it.
accurate to the movie. And that was just a
Dang it, what happened?
first little noticing of this, but it's really grown over the years, and it's gotten to a point where I feel like I need to say something about it, because the Marvels and Madame Web, they did not have characters that they tried to profess were overly perfect or could solve anything, or were trying to put men down or anything, or were trying to preach a message.
I'm gonna watch the Marvels later.
It was just very
I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna come back with receipts.
Very traditionally bad superhero storytelling, and Madame Web was absolutely hilarious.
Me and her agree it's bad storytelling, but I think they were trying to push a message. Push a message. I don't remember, but
I noticed that people, and I guarantee that a lot of these people didn't even watch the movies because they made like nothing at the box office, were trying to project that on them. And the Marvels did not do anything in its marketing, what little it had, to try to antagonize people like that. Not that I saw, but people came after it for those reasons all the same. And with Madame Web, as an example, the same thing happened with it, where, for example, there was a lie spread around that actress Isabella Merced were blaming people for not seeing the movie and calling them names and blaming men for not seeing the movie. And it got so prominent, this rumor that she had said nothing, that she
actually... That did, with Black Panther 2, there was some weird stuff that was happening. Like, people were saying, white people don't watch this movie, give your ticket to a black family. Some really racist shit like that. So that did happen with Black Panther and Black Panther 1, but more Black Panther 2, because people are insane.
Came out on Instagram, and I was like, why are people spreading things around that I didn't even say over this movie that she openly bashed herself? And so that was just a continuation of me seeing that now anything that gets female action heroes is getting a lot of hate. And that happened this year with the movie Furiosa, where Furiosa was already a
I watched this movie recently, and it was really good. I didn't have a problem with it. It was very much just more Mad Max. It wasn't bad. It was just more Mad Max, and it had the same kind of action at the first as Fury Road. It was just I think it basically met Mad Max Fury Road again, but I think if you wanted, I think this movie should have came out first and then you do Fury Road. I think that would have been better for the marketing, because the kind of the same movie. Do you want, and you don't really learn anything new that going into, you don't learn anything that wouldn't have been important to Fury Road. So I think if this movie came out first and then Fury Road, it would have been a lot better. It would have been better received.
Established character, and she's not at all the strong female Mary Sue archetype. Like, she struggles, she has mentors, she doesn't just magically become amazing and do everything herself. But I saw a lot of people saying that the movie must have bombed because it was a girl boss film. Like, that's the big word right now. Like, it's a girl boss, and no one who's marketing these movies, or at least not that I've seen, has been using that term, but it's used by people to criticize these kinds of characters. And I just see a knee-jerk reaction to all of these female action.
I feel stupid because Oh, um, because I wish I could. I feel like I'm right about the Marvels, but I just don't remember. God, that movie was so unforgettable.
Action heroes now. I mean, we're going to talk about X-Men 97 a little bit later, but I was reading a review
Oh,
from a third party.
I just started watching X-Men 97. I'm on episode 2. Right where Magneto becomes in charge of the X-Men. And quite interesting.
About X-Men 97, and one of his criticisms for it was it focused too much on the female characters in the beginning. I mean, first of all, that's absolutely not true if you watch the show, but I'm like, X-Men, if you read the comics, if you read
I mean, in the beginning show, it's about all the X-Men, but it's specifically about Jean and Scott, because, well, they're thinking about leaving the X-Men, in the beginning, and it's about how Scott, he initially wanted to leave the X-Men, and from what I've seen, then he eventually doesn't leave because Magneto joined the X-Men, and he's like, okay, I have to stay, and that's all I know.
you read the famous runs, has always had a clear focus on the female characters, like Chris Claremont.
I do like Storm's haircut in the show. I saw it, like, fucking awesome. And then I do wish, though. I wish Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman would have played some roles in that movie, in the show. That would have been cool. I kept expecting to hear the voices. I never watched the original 9 X-Men when I was younger.
Claremont, who made X-Men popular, his favorite character to write was Storm. She got the most word bubbles out of anybody in that run. This is what I'm talking.
And that makes sense. You're gonna write more of the characters you like. That's fair.
Talking about is that there's a new hate for female heroes in general, and the reason why it's such a problem.
I agree with this. Too many people blanket before even watching it. Say, hey, this is SJW crap. For one, you need to see the work first before you make any comments about it.
In the beginning, when we were getting these badly written female characters, people would always go to examples like Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley and all.
Yeah, Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley, and Princess Leia. I think I love all those female characters. And Padme in episode 1 and 2. Episode 3, she doesn't do much in episode 3, except be the pregnant lady. But episode 1 and 2, Padme, all the way.
All of those kinds of characters to say, no, these are the good, strong female characters. Princess Leia, these are the good, actually strong female characters who actually you.
And Sarah Connor was I forget her actor's name. Sarah Connor was actually pretty beefy for that movie, so I like it. I think actresses should beef up for more action role movies if they're going to be fighting, just in general. Oh, and female characters in House of the Dragon. Those characters are good.
You can root for who actually are tough in their situations and are actually well drawn, well developed characters. But now it's so bizarre. I saw a post this year of someone using Sarah Connor as a bad example. Like, well, women think they can be like.
Women who women think they are opposed to reality. For one, she actually got this buff for the movie. So it's not like, oh, she isn't like this. She was that fucking buff for the movie. So you can't say that. But yeah, I think if you're going to be a service officer, you have to be a little bit more buff, you know? You have to be able to run. She's looking a little bit bigger, you know. She's not looking too confident about what she's about to do either. Well, that's fair, but
like this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? First of all, Terminator is a little bit more of a male skewing brand than some of these other things like Star Wars and Marvel, I think appeal a bit more to both genders.
no, I think Star Wars appealed more to men than women, at least in the beginning.
General. However, I'm just like, how do we go from all these years of Sarah Connor being used as the archetype for strong female characters and how they should be written to now her saying that she's a bad example? And I've just seen a lot of this
The worst superhero movies ever.
Lately. And I'm like, what has happened? Because when all of this started, everyone was like, yeah, it's not about having female action heroes, it's about the writing. And for me, that is what it's always.
I always agree. It's about the writing. You know, it doesn't matter who your character is, it's about the writing. You know, a writing is the first thing it's always the first important thing. Everything trickled down from writing. You know, good characters, but they can't be good without good writing. Thank you for joining my stream. I might. Okay, that is. Oh, thank you, 2 people. I appreciate that. If that might be you, Jester Bell. Well, if that's you, Jester Bell, I like your video so far. And I'm sorry I can't have more receipts on your video. I will, though. I'll watch the Marvel tomorrow so I can prove my points more better. That's why I didn't make a point about the Marvels. But anyway, let's continue.
Always been, because I like female action heroes when they're done right. Now, so much of the conversation has just become to bash female action heroes. And I think some of that speaks to how the culture is changing and how people are becoming more divided and how conversations are becoming more.
I don't think people are. I think people are definitely becoming more divided. I think people are becoming too label slap happy. They're too, whether it be for agenda or just because they see some of the evidence and they just assume it. I think people are definitely becoming more slap happy with the label of, strong female character, SJW character, this, that, and the other thing. I think people are becoming too slap happy with that label. But definitely more divided too.
More volatile. What's been posted around lately is that if Ellen Ripley.
Okay, I am going to show all the comments I get. Okay.
Came out today in a movie, then she would get hate. And some people have laughed them off of, no, that would never happen. I actually 100% believe that if Ellen Ripley Alien came out today just as it did in the 70s, then Ellen Ripley would get hate, at least from a certain group of people. Maybe it wouldn't be the majority, but there would be a certain group of people hating on her as a female action hero. And there's 2 ways of looking at.
Yeah, I think that's unfortunately true. There would be a lot more hate. Although I think that's because of the internet too. To be fair, I think before the internet, it was harder to get more widespread feedback. With the advent of the internet, you're definitely able to get more reviews from more crazy people and good people. So I think you have to temper that a little bit, You have to be like, oh yeah, well, people didn't have access to each other as easily as they did before. So you definitely gotta try and look at that.
Looking at that, are people in control of their own emotions and their own thoughts on this stuff? Yes, they are. And I don't condone people taking the criticism against female action heroes so far and making it out like that is inherently a problem. But there is another side of this story. Yes, the people who are taking the criticisms too far should not be condoned, and I would criticize them. But also, I'm questioning, isn't this like the ultimate result of the push of the strong female hero poking the bear, so to speak? What they've done essentially with their push of the strong female character and putting them in so many bad movies and not listening to criticism, having people who don't know how to handle these characters work on them, being so concerned with having female.
I would just say they're putting people that haven't written anything really before. People that have one like show credit to their name or whatever. I think they're doing that because they're people easier to control. But you need to get experienced people that know how to write, have more than just one credit.
Characters be perfect and unproblematic, that they have no character, is that they've made this pendulum swing too far back the other way. Now, strong female characters, female action heroes, are being associated with bad quality. When you've made female action heroes be associated with horrible movies.
I agree with this, but you can understand the point whenever you see, oh, it's a female. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
Then people aren't going to help made female action heroes be associated with horrible movies.
Okay, I remember. I think it's somewhat fair to associate female characters with, at least now, with bad writing because you've seen it so much. I think it's kind of fair, for the average person. You see like a woman on screen and she's in the trailer, she's doing all crazy shit like it this it that I don't know, and there's obviously people with agendas, but there are a lot of people that don't want to waste their money on something that's potentially bad, like Damsel. That was really bad.
Then people aren't going to help but have a knee-jerk reaction whenever they see that even remote similar marketing these days. And that is the difference of what you didn't have in the era that Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor were coming out. They were new characters. They were pushing the boundaries. They were getting new kinds of female action heroes in theaters, and you didn't have this stigma of bad writing around them. But now you do, and that is on Hollywood. The more you go.
Okay, we agree on the same thing.
Oh,
yes.
The more people will roll their eyes at these female action heroes and just expect something bad, something bland. And I think, and I'll talk about this more later in the video, I think that the push for strong female heroes is going to make it harder to get actual good female action heroes out.
And I don't think they want to. I mean, if they wanted to, they would,
there, because the female action hero is being associated with bad quality, and to the Hollywood business people who are just looking at the money, the female action hero might become associated with bad business. And we already saw that with Madam Web, where they started to completely write off the idea of female action heroes. We saw that with the Marvels, where people.
Okay, I have to go. I'm really busy tomorrow, so I will finish the rest of it tomorrow and get my receipts. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.